Good morning, dear students. Welcome to the science class. Today we continue our discussion on combustion and flame. Have you heard of forest fires? You can see the diagram of forest fire here. During extreme heat of summer, at some places, dry grass catches fire. From the grass, it spreads to trees, and very soon the whole forest is on fire. It is very difficult to control such fires. Different substances catch fire at different temperatures. The lowest temperature at which a substance catches fire is called its ignition temperature. So the lowest temperature at which a substance catches fire is called its ignition temperature. So we have the definition here. The lowest temperature at which a substance catches fire and undergoes combustion, liberating heat and light is called ignition temperature. So this is a definition of ignition temperature. The lowest temperature at which a substance catches fire and undergoes combustion, liberating heat and light is called ignition temperature. So this is the reason why a matchstick does not catch fire on its own at room temperature. Why does the matchstick start burning on rubbing it on the sides of the matchbox? A matchstick does not catch fire and burn on its own at room temperature because the ignition temperature of matchstick is higher than the room temperature. A matchstick starts burning on rubbing it on the sides of the matchbox because the heat produced by friction heats the chemical at the head of the matchstick to their ignition temperature and makes it catch fire. Say matchstick starts burning on rubbing it on the side of the matchbox because the heat produced by friction heats the chemical present at the head of the matchstick to their ignition temperature and makes it catch fire. We find that a combustible substance cannot catch fire or burn as long as its temperature is lower than its ignition temperature. Kerosene oil and wood do not catch fire on their own at room temperature. But if kerosene oil is heated a little, it will catch fire. But if wood is heated a little, it would still not catch fire. Does it mean that ignition temperature of kerosene oil is lower than that of wood? Does it mean that we need to take special care in storing kerosene oil? So let us go for an activity. And this activity shows that it is essential for a substance to reach ignition temperature to burn. Make two paper cups by folding a sheet of paper. You can see the diagram here. Pour about 50 ml of water in one of the cups. Heat both the cups separately with a candle. What do you observe? See, in this paper cup, water is present. Here there is no water. What happens to the empty paper cup? What happens to the paper cup with water? Does water in this cup become hot? So let us see the answer. Paper cup which contains water do not burn till water is vaporized. This happens because heat introduced to paper cup containing water goes to water. Additionally, water keeps the ignition temperature of the paper cup below limit. This is the cause that paper cup containing water does not burn. On the other hand, paper cup having no water reach this ignition temperature required to burn paper quickly and it starts burning. If we continue heating the cup, we can even boil water in the paper cup. Can you think of an explanation for this phenomenon? The heat supplied to the paper cup is transferred to water by the process of conduction. So, in the presence of water, the ignition temperature of paper is not reached. Hence, the paper does not burn. The substances which have very low ignition temperature and can easily catch fire with a flame are called inflammable substances. So the substances which have very low ignition temperature and can easily catch fire with a flame are called inflammable substances. The examples of inflammable substances are petrol, alcohol, liquefied petroleum or LPG. Then, how do we control fire? You must have seen or heard of fire breaking out in homes, shops and factories. If you have seen such an accident, write a short description in your notebook. Also share the experience with your classmates. Does your city or town have a fire brigade station? When a fire brigade arrives, what does it do? It pours water on the fire. Water cools the combustible material so that its temperature is brought below its ignition temperature. So it pours water on the fire. Water cools the combustible material so that its temperature is brought below its ignition temperature. And this prevents the fire from spreading. Water vapors also surround the combustible material, helping in cutting off the supply of air, so fire is extinguished. So water vapors surround the combustible material, helping in cutting off the supply of air, so the fire is extinguished. There are three essential requirements for producing fire. Let us see these three requirements. These are fuel, then air. Air means the supply of oxygen, then heat to raise the temperature of the fuel beyond the ignition temperature. These are the three essential requirements for producing fire: fuel, air or the supply of oxygen, and heat to raise the temperature of the fuel beyond ignition temperature. Fire can be controlled by removing one or more of these requirements. The job of a fire extinguisher is to cut off the supply of air or to bring down the temperature of the fuel or both. So, what's the job of fire extinguisher? The job of the fire extinguisher is to cut off the supply of air or to bring down the temperature of the fuel or both. Notice that the fuel in most cases cannot be eliminated. For example, a building catches fire. The whole building is the fuel. The most common fire extinguisher is water. But water works only when things like wood and paper are on fire. If electrical equipment is on fire, water may conduct electricity and harm those trying to douse the fire. Water is also not suitable for fires involving oil and petrol. Do you recall that water is heavier than oil? So it sinks below the oil and oil keeps burning on the top. So for fires involving electrical equipments and inflammable materials like petrol, carbon dioxide is the best extinguisher. So for fire involving electrical equipments and inflammable materials like carbon dioxide is the best extinguisher. Carbon dioxide being heavier than oxygen, what happens? Covers the fire like a blanket. Since the contact between the fuel and oxygen is cut off, the fire is controlled. The additional advantage of carbon dioxide is that in most cases it does not harm the electrical equipment. Let us see the working of fire extinguisher. How do we get the supply of carbon dioxide? It can be stored at high pressure as a liquid cylinders. You can see the diagrams here. When released from the cylinder, carbon dioxide expands enormously in volume and it cools down. So it not only forms a blanket around the fire, it also brings down the temperature of the fuel. That is why it is an excellent fire extinguisher. Another way to get carbon dioxide is to release a lot of dry powder or chemicals like sodium bicarbonate or baking soda or potassium bicarbonate. To release a lot of dry powder of sodium bicarbonate or potassium bicarbonate. Near the fire, these chemicals give off carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is a fire extinguisher. Dear students, this is all for today's class. Thank you.